What's up guys, Josh from Strength Side. This is a full body stretching routine that incorporates strength and movement, which I have found over the years to be the best method for opening up your body and for creating that long-lasting change. I designed this to be version 2 of the daily practice. So if you're already doing my free stretching routine, you can start to add this into your schedule every other day. You ready to get started? We begin in a Shin Box position, one leg in front, one leg behind. We then transition controlled to the other side. I want you to feel all of this rotation coming from the hips. And to start, you keep your hands down behind you to assist in the hip rotation. Feels pretty good, right? Well, as you gain more control here, you can step it up by lifting the hands up. Now all the rotation has to come from the hips with no assistance from the arms. There's no pressure to do this version. If you feel more comfortable with your hands down, work on that for a while, and then eventually you'll get to the point where you feel like you can pick those hands up comfortably. Shout out to this background music. I am really feeling it, guys. And the next version to challenge yourself even further is to pick the foot up of the back leg. This is really going to challenge your internal rotation of the hip. This can be really challenging and even a bit uncomfortable, but trust me, this makes the hips very healthy. It makes them strong and able to get into deeper ranges of motion with ease. And as we do 2 more on each side, I want to ask you guys, how's your day going? I hope it's going well, but regardless of if it's good or bad, it's going to be a lot better after we finish up this routine. So be happy that you're here, you're taking the time to improve your body and taking the time to just make yourself feel good. Speaking of feeling good, we're gonna move into that cat stretch. Our feline brothers and sisters, they really know how to stretch, and we could take a page from their book. So I'm going to sit my hips back to my heels. I'm going to extend my arms out in front of me, and notice that I keep my fingertips into the ground. This is important because I'm going to press my chest down and then my arms are driven up. This creates a big stretch through the upper spine and the shoulders. Focus on feeling your spine open up and decompress. Your spine can hold a lot of tension from the day, and giving it love is probably just what it needs right now. And try to deepen the breath, making those exhales full and long. And while we're here, let's have a quick quarantine chat. Now, obviously, it's really hard to see some of the people that are negatively affected by the coronavirus, but I've also been receiving a lot of messages from people telling me that this time while they're at home is giving them a chance to really focus on improving their body and their mind. So I want to hear from you. Comment below and let me know what you're working on while we take this pause from normal life. Are you doing more Strength Side follow-alongs? Stretching, strengthening? Are you starting to play guitar more, read more? I'd love to hear some of those positive ways that we're using this time right now. So go ahead and relax out of the cat stretch. Take a second here to gather yourself. And what's next? Well, after cat, we of course go to frog. So this will be a similar position to what you were just in. But now our goal is to spread the knees as far as possible. You can start with your torso upright, and then if it feels good for you, come down to your elbows. Notice I'm kind of wiggling my spine around. I'm trying to find certain angles that make me feel more of a stretch in those inner thighs. And now the hard stuff begins. I want you to slide one leg out until it's straight. Then you're going to try to pick up your foot. Even if you can't get it off the ground, just trying to pick it up will activate the side of your hip. So we slide out, we pick up, we come back to the frog position. And if lifting the foot is too challenging, then no worries. It's a good goal to work towards. I like to call this the dancing frog. It's a fun image for me to picture a frog super excited and dancing around. Okay, so after we activated the side of the hip, now we're just going to extend the leg and we're going to sit into this position for around 10 seconds. Think about the hips dropping down and just deepening into this position as much as you can. You should feel a good stretch in the inner thighs and even in the hamstrings as well. Fantastic work, everyone. But we're not quite done yet. We're gonna do another round of these leg lifts. A lot of us develop stiffness in the inner thighs because we never really use that range of motion. So this is going to be really beneficial for anyone who has trouble prying those legs open like I do. So we did 2 more lifts on each side, and now we'll do 1 more hold. Feel like you can get the deepest range of motion in this last hold here. We'll do 10 seconds on each side. How we feeling? The inside of those legs might be a little shaky right now, and that's completely normal. You might even get a little bit sore from those, and that's probably a good thing. It's gonna take some time to open up those hips, but this is the stuff that will do it. Now, after we've taken a little break there, and feel free to pause the video if you need a longer break, that's fine. We're gonna move into something that most of us are familiar with, and that's the downward dog. So I want you to find a comfortable downward dog position, making an A shape with your body. And then you're going to move one hand to the center of your shoulders, and you're going to pick up the other hand. Now press the chest towards the thighs and return. This is an excellent way to open up the upper spine and the shoulder. And if you have to keep the knees bent or even the heels off the ground, that's okay. We're more focused on the spine and the shoulder right now than the hamstrings. And on this last rep, I want you to hold for a few seconds, really feel the shoulder opening up, and return to both arms. Now, I showed the harder variation of a single arm first because I think a lot of you will be able to do it. But you can always use that 2-arm variation as well. So let's switch to the other arm, bring the hand to the center, keep that elbow straight, and press your chest back towards the thighs. This takes a lot of mobility of the shoulder, but also a lot of strength. And I think on this side, as I got deeper in the reps, my left arm started to get shaky here. It's a very challenging movement, one that creates a lot of good change in the body. And after you finish your last rep on that arm, I want you to come back to 2 arms and perform 5 more repetitions with both your arms. Now these should feel extremely easy after doing that single arm variation. And now I want you to walk your hands back towards your feet, and I want you to get them as close as possible for you. Next, pick your hands up and let your torso hang down. Now place your hands on the back of your calves. I want you to see if you can deepen this forward fold position by gently pulling the arms against the calves. I find it helpful to bend the knee and pull myself in very deep and then straighten my knee. Over time, you'll get your hamstrings and your spine to loosen more and more to be able to pull your face down all the way to those knees. Okay, stand up and relax. Take a second to shake it out. See how you're feeling. What's good? Pause the video, grab a little sip of water if you need, call a friend, do whatever you gotta do before we enter into this next stretch, which is going to be a deep lunge knee lift. So follow me into this deep lunge position and keep your hand on the ground. I'm trying to open my back hip as much as possible. Now, keeping the hand down, you're going to lift the back knee off the ground. You're going to try to get that knee as straight as possible. And as you do that, you should feel a big stretch in the front of your hip. What'd that feel like? If you spend a lot of time sitting, this is gonna be pretty intense here. This is getting into those quads and hip flexors. And now I have a more challenging version for you guys that wanna take it here. That's to pick that hand up and now do the same thing with the knee. This is going to be a bit more challenging because now you have to take all of the weight in the hips. So we're doing 10 reps here, and on this last repetition right here, I want you to hold for anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. Yeah, make it hurt a little bit. Feel some good pain in there. And this is by far one of the most effective stretches to open up those hip flexors because the hip has to be strong in the lengthened position. It has to stabilize what you're doing. So we start by getting into the deep lunge. Get yourself comfortable here. Spend a few seconds finding a good position. And now let's move on to the knee lifts. The feeling of stretching the body is absolutely phenomenal, but the feeling of stretching and using strength through those stretch range, well, it might even be a little better in my opinion. So you guys can switch to the hands up version if you are up for that challenge for the last 5. Remember to hold on the last rep. Hell yeah. You did it. Stand up. Feel good about yourself. Those are not easy, those deep lunge knee lifts. Those get me every time. But they feel really good in the end. So you made it to the last exercise, which is a wall chest opener. So you're going to need a wall. Hopefully you got one of those around. You're going to place your hand flat on the wall. And now notice I'm showing here, we want to go from a shoulder forward position to a shoulder rolled back position. We then rotate the torso away from the arm. We hold for a second and then we come back to the start. And you know as much as me, pretty much everyone develops those tight front of the shoulders because we all slouch a little bit, right? So I'm going to show again right here. If your shoulder is forward, we want to do the opposite. We want to bring it back. And if you find that your shoulder keeps coming forward, you can literally do that motion every single rep of manually rolling it forward and then manually setting it back and then opening up. You're going to feel a big openness through the chest. Let's hold on this last rep, 5 seconds, and a pretty long 5 seconds, and relax. So here's your boy talking to the camera when he knows it's going to be a voiceover, but you know, it's all good. Don't blame him. Here we show from the backside, setting that shoulder down, then rotating the torso, opening the chest. And maintain that good shoulder position even as you rotate the torso. So let's recap everything that we did today. We rotated the hips. We stretched the upper spine. We stretched out the inner thighs. We moved on to stretch out the hamstrings and the spine and downward dog. Then we hit the hip flexors and the quads. And we finish up with opening up the chest. My goodness, we did everything. By now you should feel open. Open in your body, open in your heart. You should feel good and alive. Last rep, let's hold for 5 seconds. Gently demand your body. Open that chest, boy. And relax. That's it. You are finished, unless you want to play this back from the beginning and do another round. My hope is that you enjoyed this as much as I did. And if you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and come do this again with me soon. If you're interested in the full version of this stretching routine, along with other exclusive follow-alongs not on the YouTubes, head on over to strengthside.com/guided. Guys, it has been a glorious day, as always.